Good morning. It's time for another Hump Day Happy Chat. And here we go. Good morning again. It's time for your Wednesday morning happy guidance. It's time for another Hump Day Happy Chat coming at you live on Facebook from the Hartley Center for Mindfulness and Self-Mastery on the road. One of my offices. I'm Valerie Shepard. I'm the founder and CEO of the Hartley Center, and it's a Hump Day Happy Chat time, which is a time for me to share some tips and tools, some things that come up for me that I think might help you in having more peace and love and joy and freedom. In other words, the real things that you came to the planet to experience. Yes, that may be a little woo-woo for some of you, but woo-woo is where it's at. I'm here to tell you. You are more than the conscious self, and self-mastery is about knowing that and about dealing with that and about expressing that in the most exquisite ways possible. So that's what Hump Day Happy Chat is part of, is helping you flex that muscle and get into that aspect of you that wants to be expressed so that you can live at the highest levels, the highest vibration, and be that in the world and bring more of that into the world in which we all are living. And this subject today is a big one. I love it. It has been my problem for part of my life, and I've unraveled it. And I think it's going on out there a lot, and I would love to share it with you. Hi, thank you so much for joining. It's great to have you with me today. Please type in comments and let me know who you are, and thank you again for being here. So again, the Hartley Center is all about self-mastery, right? Mastering you in your life so you can manage exquisitely whatever your life brings your way. It's founded on these three things: self-acceptance, self-awareness first, self-acceptance, and self-love. Self-love, something I don't think I was taught, but I know that my life has come to show me. And so I'm deepening my understanding and ability to do that. And it's funny, when I'm in that space, my life is exquisite. And today's topic gets into that a little bit. It came to me because I've been helping my students and clients, mostly like my students, deal with relationship dynamics, right? So I'm not talking about romance here. None of this is dealing with romance, although this can. This is really other relationships, the interpersonal stuff. So often I'm hearing parents, their dynamics between siblings, lab partners. So think about office, people in the organizations that they volunteer in and serve in, situations with others are probably the most fertile ground for seeing yourself. Interesting. Seeing yourself, whether that's in all of your glory, all your magnificence, all of your love, all of your joy, all of your empowerment, all of your inspiration, or whether the relationship or the situation interpersonally is showing you the muck-and-yuck of you, the stuff of you that is not really serving you. That was the case for me. I mean, I had both, but where I learned a lot about myself was interpersonal dynamics that got brought to my attention that had to do with stuff coming from inside of me that really wasn't necessarily serving me. And so what can happen is you're in this relationship and you're in a situation and you get triggered by the dynamics of the situation. And then stuff comes up. Stuff comes up for you, stuff comes up for them. Things can go sideways. All of a sudden you're spending a lot of time talking about the stuff, even though you're not necessarily talking directly about the stuff. It's in what you're talking about or in how you're behaving. So things go sideways, you get off track. And sometimes they go completely off the rails, like way off track, like you've derailed. Your little train is lying on this side of the track, their little train is lying on that side of the track, and you are not meeting at all. So the root of problems interpersonally, as well as intrapsychically, I might have made that word up, I don't know. Intrapsychically, meaning in your own sense of self, in your own psyche, right? Psyche is there, believe it or not, that word has root in the idea of your own soul, your own inner spirit, right? In your identity, your personality, your individuality, in your own sense of self. The root of problems can be how you take things. It gets triggered and it feels like the other person is coming at you, maybe with a death wish. Maybe. I mean, I know that people can sometimes feel my energy as incredibly intimidating. So to them, if I'm something I'm doing or saying or not doing or not saying the right way or saying the wrong way is triggering that energy, it can feel very much that I am coming at them. And there are times when I've felt that coming at me, right? So what's going on? We are taking it personally. Personally. It becomes personal. It feels like they're out to get me. She doesn't like something about me. She's not seeing my brilliance. She's not valuing my idea. It's not fair. It's something about me, and you're taking it personally. So what's happening is you interpreting what's going on, a remark, an action, as directed to right against you, and you're feeling it. You're mentally processing it, but you're feeling it. Something's going on. You're feeling it as directed against you. You become upset. Worse, you become offended. You take it as an insult. You regard something as a slight. You decide there's something wrong in this relationship. That person isn't doing it right. They're not a good leader, not a good speaker, not a good, whatever it is that you want is not being given to you in that moment. But I would suggest that the root of this problem for you, and when it has been my problem as well, is that we're taking it personally, what the person said personally. And I cannot talk about this subject without bringing up one of my favorite authors who is a phenomenal human being, Don Miguel Ruiz, a Mexican author. He's a spiritualist. He's known as a shaman. He's one of the best known, I guess you would call it New Thought social ministers. That's my term. I don't know that he calls himself that, but social ministers. And what I love about Don Miguel Ruiz, because I love shamanistic practices, I love studying other cultures, I love studying all the different beliefs and religions. What I love about his work is that he focuses on ancient Toltec teachings, he focuses on that, and around spiritual enlightenment and how that happens. In 2018, he was listed as one of the top 100 most spiritually influential people living in the world. Boy, how like magnificent to have that much reach and influence to help people live at a higher level. I love this guy. But what I love even about his history, more than his history, is the work of his mind and how it's been created into legacy. So he studied the human mind from both the indigenous experience as well as science, right? So this is where I love things where this hard, conscious mind science can come together with what I love talking about, which is not necessarily always black and white, connect the dots, producible, which is mystical. The mystical indigenous aspects of the Toltec culture. And his book has become an amazing New York Times bestseller called The Four Agreements. How many of you know it? If you know it, type in there, I know that book. I love that book. It's a phenomenal book, The Four Agreements. It's from 1997, and it's still, I think if you go into Amazon, it's still one of the most sold spiritual books. It sold over 7 million copies. It's been translated into something like 35 or 40 languages. It's amazing. Taking it personally, like I said, I can't talk about the subject without going to the 4 agreements because it's one of the 4 agreements. Number 2, don't take anything personally. I'll give you all 4 of them. So number 1, be impeccable with your word. Number 2, don't take anything personally. Number 3, don't make assumptions. And number 4, always do your best. But this topic is about number 2, not taking it personally. So here's the deal. When people are doing or saying anything, it may feel and look and sound like it's about you. Most of the time, it's not, even when it's directed at you, even when it might be for your benefit, right? It's not. It's coming from inside them, mostly from inside here. So it's coming from their beliefs, their interpretations of the world, their perceptions of the world, their habitual patterns of being who they're being, which at any given moment is so far from where you are that when stuff comes at you from them, it may feel so alien that you're not ready to receive it. And you're maybe in a place where you're like, I don't want to receive that. The other thing that can happen, so first, it comes from them, and so it's more about them than about anything else. My perceptions are telling you about me. The way I say something is telling you about me. It's not telling you about you. However, when it triggers you, it comes like a rocket ship, boom, and it triggers you. That's making me feel inadequate. She only cares about herself, not me. She's so selfish. He's so whatever, mean, angry. He's so slighting. He never sees me, never asks me about me. They want me to do it their way all the time. Like when that actually triggers a reaction in you, where you're not really responding to the situation, you're just firing back from anger, a knee-jerk reaction, it's also about you. It's showing you, like I said earlier, our relationships are such fertile ground for us to see us, but often we're so busy finding fault with the other person, we're not really seeing, maybe this isn't about them. I don't have to accept the way they're doing it if it doesn't feel good to me. And what else is going on here that might be a key to my happiness, might be a key to my inner peace? So they're doing them, can be like an old worn out groove. Many of you listening might not know what an LP, a long playing record is. Some of you who are my age, you have some very special ones that you listen to, and you actually like the snap, crackle, pop when they play. I got you. I love you. I am you. Others, to think of a groove, think about when something gets worn down. Like just think in nature, a rock where water has been dripping on it for a really long time. It gets a groove worn in it. That's our patterns, our habitual practices of being who we are. You can change it, but the first thing that has to happen to change it is you have to become aware of it. Self-mastery, you have to become aware of it. And you have to also decide that the way you're doing it, or whatever that is, being it, saying it, not doing it, the way you're experiencing and expressing it is not serving you. Not right or wrong, not good or bad. Just, is it serving me? Is it creating connection where I want connection? Is it helping me discern what's next for me? How is it serving me? That's your question. Is the way I'm being me in the world serving me or not? Because if you're here to serve the world in whatever way you are, and we all are, right? Serve each other. That's harder to do when the things that we're doing in order to do that aren't serving ourselves. The world is not made up for self-sacrifice. People will tell you that. That's not really what it's about. It's through self-love that you are able to serve at the highest level. I give to myself, and therefore I am able to give to others. As it's said on an airplane, put your mask on first before you try to put on the oxygen mask on someone else. So when you take someone else's behavior personally, whether it's designed that way or not. I mean, you can even take something that is personal and decide, it's more about them and where they are than it landing on me that way. Again, it doesn't say you have to take it, but here's how you deal with it. Number one, first you've got to notice what's going on in you. You do that by waking up in the moment and claiming, I'm not going to take this personally. You choose. You make a conscious choice. It's not knee-jerk. You're saying, something's going on over there. They're angry or they're afraid or they're just not sure what to do. And so I'm sensing something going on, and I'm just not going to take this personally, even though that was kind of a hurtful comment. I'm just not going to take it to be about me. They may be trying to hurt someone, but it may be about they're afraid right now. I know for a fact that I learned not to be afraid. And so I would show anger as a way to move people back, like step back, step off me, right? So a lot of times other people's anger could also be other people's fear. So first thing, notice, what's going on with me right now? I'm feeling triggered, but I'm not going to take it personally. Second, create a safe space, which means you might have to say, you know what? This feels like it's getting heated. I just want to take a moment. You might have to exit for a moment. Shut the dang thing down. Nobody says you have to continue. Take a pause. Time out. Not technical. Time out, right? You could also just take a few breaths. We don't need to fill up every quiet moment with some chatterboxing. You could just say, let me receive what that just was. Let me see where it's landing in me. What did it come to teach me? How is it really a gift? Even though it hurts a little. What's that hurt from? Is it about this moment and that person? Or is it that they triggered something that's unhealed within me and I'm bringing that forward when it's really not here? When you can take that time to notice what's really going on, oh my gosh, you've just empowered yourself in the most beautiful way possible that doesn't rely on the other person being a certain way or not being a certain way for you to give your best at any given moment. So number one, wake up, notice what's going on with you when they're doing whatever they're doing. Number two, create safe space. If you have to step out, take a breath, do whatever you have to do to create space where you can process you. Not about them, it's now you. You process you. Number three is really important. This is one of my favorites. Go to your heart, which means quiet the conscious mind. Your conscious mind may be running a whole bunch of us-them stories about why they shouldn't have said that, and it's you against them, and they're trying to take you out, and that's inappropriate, and your head may be running protectionist ideology and perspectives that are learned behaviors, and they have nothing to do with unconditional love, right? They're separating. Go to your heart, right? Your intuitive sense, your mystical sense, your God self. Go there. Muster up feelings of gratitude and compassion. Whatever it takes, feel gratitude for yourself. Feel gratitude for this moment. Feel gratitude for the other person. So expressing themselves so straightforwardly that you're upset by it. Whatever you have to do. Disengage from that moment and think about how much you love your dog or your youngest child or all your children or your vacations in the Alps, whatever. Go to gratitude and compassion for whatever you can in the moment. Compassion for the other person's pain that's being expressed in a way that brings up your pain. See that maybe the two of you have the same pain. Right there, when you can go there in compassion and say, I'm feeling what he's feeling. I know where she's been. You just close the gap. So maybe you can get beyond the words and get to the spirit. Ooh, a juicy place to dance with the spirit. And any two people, when the two hearts come closer together, not in romance necessarily, but through understanding, tolerance, harmony, compassion, the divine is present and joyful. And then if it's possible, this is step 4, if it's possible, maybe share your experience in love and compassion, not in blame and shame. You just hurt me. No, but I'm feeling hurt. And I don't know if it was your intention. Something you said just triggered a pocket of pain in me. And I just wanted to share that. And maybe we could talk about that for a minute. And then we'll get back to the real reason. If you can do that, do it. If it's not really the right time or moment, you don't have to. And then number 5, no matter what, go to higher ground as fast as you can. See this whole situation from a vantage point that's above taking it personally and being hurt and offended. What did you really come together for? Can you focus on that in love, even though the way that you're receiving the certain message, and maybe even the way you think that person is delivering it, isn't what you want or what you like or the way you think it should be? Maybe you could just say, they're doing their best. I'm going to do mine. And so I'm going to just see this as beautiful. I'm going to give it to them. I'm going to give them a bye. I'm going to give them a mulligan. We'll do do-overs. It's okay. I once was interacting with a girlfriend, and she really didn't like what I was doing. And I thought I was being playful. And it didn't come across that way. The tone I was using, the look on my face, whatever was going on in the situation, she was not hearing it that way or receiving it that way. And I take responsibility for the way I delivered it. And what I loved about what she did was these steps. And she did say to me, okay, that really came across as mean, and I don't want to be talked to that way. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to rephrase. And she stood in her power, and she called me on it. And it was as loving a way as she could stand in her power in that moment. It works. You can do it. It's not personal. Most of what you experience in life isn't personal until you make it that way, until you take it that way. And then you come out with your fisticuffs all ready to go and your guns blazing. So maybe from last week, slow your roll on taking things personally. Your happiness equation will have shifted in a magnificent way. And your opportunity for happiness, even in the midst of a difficult dynamic interpersonally, will go way up. So happy Hump Day. That's your Hump Day Happy Chat for today. I hope that it was helpful, that it gives you something to consider and maybe to dance with in your life. And I just want a presence for people. If you want more of this, if you want like a whole weekend immersion going into the juju of happiness and what the new possibilities might be calling to you in your life, I can do that with you. It's called This Is How You Soar, Creating Transcendence in Everyday Life. And that's my 2.5-day weekend retreat up in the California Redwoods at this beautiful facility called 1440 Multiversity. You're invited. Please join us. To get more information, go to tinyurl.com/SOAR, SOAR, the number 1440, and the letter U. SOAR 1440U. That's tinyurl, SOAR 1440U. It's going to be a weekend of laughter, of play, of deep transformational work, of some beautiful release work. Got a couple really beautiful tools for you. And you'll be at a facility that includes 3 locally sourced, seasonally available meals per day, yoga classes, singing bowl classes, trails, miles and miles of trails through the redwoods. It'll be a combination of re-education and rejuvenation and relaxation. And something tells me you might want to be there. So I'll be holding sacred space. If you want to reach out to me, PM me or call me or email me, and I'll give you as much information as I can. All I'm telling you right now is I would love to dance with you and support you to create your soaring equation and that you're living happy to be me. That's it for this week's Hump Day Happy Chat. Thank you so much for joining. B. Baylor, you are awesome. Thank you for hanging in there and writing some comments. Mwah. Much love to you, my girlfriend. Thank you so much. See you next week. Hump Day Happy Chat every Wednesday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific. Bye now. Locking it down. Everything's turning on. Bye-bye.